We need some footage. I need footage.
I know I brought another sleeve with me.
Oh, hey, I saw that. I need footage. You got footage?
I've got 2 footages.
Okay, so guess where Ron is?
Freezing his ass.
How did you happen to be here in Seattle, Ron?
Well, I got off of the plane last night.
Yeah.
Damned if I wasn't here.
Well, I'll be damned.
Only 10 and a half hours.
Is that all?
Most of it in the Atlanta airport.
And here let's see, where are we? We are on Bainbridge Island. And there's Seattle right over there.
The last 3 years of my 5 years was in Pensacola.
Oh, okay.
So January 5th of 65 to February 8th of 68.
All right. And who had the band when you got there?
Frank Eamon.
Yep. Pretty good fellow, huh?
Oh, he's great.
Yeah.
Great. One of the true gentlemen in the service that I ran across. One of the true ones.
Now here's one of the other true gentlemen.
There he is, right there.
There he is, right there. Tex by.
So I extended for a year so I could stay in Pensacola stay in that band for another year. I was having such a good time.
Yeah.
And enjoyed it so much, and almost stayed in forever.
Yeah.
At the last minute, got out at the suggestion of Frank Eamon.
Is that right? Really? He encouraged you to get out?
He encouraged me to get out and go do what I needed to do. And I didn't know what the hell that was. So
he seemed to know, though, huh?
oh, yeah, he had an idea. So I did get out and went and did whatever I had to do, but it took me about 2 more years to figure out what that was.
Is that right? What'd you do in the meantime?
Well, I taught a little junior high band, which was a wonderful experience. And I'm lying. And I'm lying. I discovered I wasn't temperamentally suited for the teaching profession.
My, really?
Well, I was 20.
I stayed away from it.
Yeah. Well, I was 27 and I was too young to really take it seriously.
Yeah.
And I foolishly thought that those junior high school kids should be as passionate about music as I was. And, wrong.
Not so much, huh?
Not so much. The passionate ones were the ones in the 7th grade string class.
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, they were the serious.
That wouldn't surprise Diane at all,
Yeah.
since she teaches junior high strings. Yeah, she's got some great kids.
So I lasted 2.5 months. I may have lasted a little longer, but had an opportunity to move to Nashville, and there I went.
And so when you were in Pensacola,
Yes.
did you know any saxophone players there?
No.
No.
Wait a minute. I knew one.
Who was that?
McGuane.
Dick McGuane. No, don't say it.
Danny Cavallo.
Danny Cavallo, was he there?
Did you remember Danny Cavallo?
I know the name, I never met him.
Did you?
Do you know him?
Tex?
Don't know the name? That's a familiar name to me.
Well, he was there when I got
Yeah,
there.
but anybody else there? Any saxophone players that you knew?
No.
Come on.
Not that he'd like to remember.
Turn that camera around.
Was that?
No, not
Like
that way. Toward you.
Was Birdie there?
That's Birdie. There he is. I did know one more.
That's right. Yeah.
The man behind the camera.
Yeah. We did have some fun there, didn't we?
Oh my God, yes. Yeah. Yeah, and one of your fondest memories is the air conditioner in my house.
That's true.
Mine and Carol's house.
That's true. And frozen daiquiris.
He said it was the coldest house he's ever been in his life.
You could hang meat in there. I mean, it was divine.
wonderful.
It'd be that hot Florida, humid, horrible weather that I hate so much. Go to Ron's house, and you better bring a jacket. You better bring your thirst. Because we'd listen to, we listened to Sergio Mendes,
And Ramsey Lewis.
Ray
Charles.
Ray Charles, Burt Bacharach, Four Tops, good stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And make frozen daiquiris, as you said a while ago.
Yes, indeed.
A lot.
Lots of frozen.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah. By the way,
That makes listening a lot more pleasurable.
for the audience here, I wonder if would you introduce yourself, sir? Who might you be?
I might be Tex Waldron.
You might be, and you are.
I remember Ron from the basic course.
Do you really?
Yeah. I'm sure he doesn't remember me. He was one of the few players in the basic course, I guess. He was a great piano player back then. And what I remember most about Ron is he didn't like big bands.
He still doesn't.
He didn't like all that pow stuff. He was more into, little piano trios.
I still don't like them.
Were you in the on staff or the basic or the advanced course or when Ron was there? What were you?
No, I was in basic student.
You were?
We are of the same era.
No, I didn't know you guys are that old. Oh,
Yeah.
wait a
We
minute.
kind of found it.
What year was that?
I was about 63 or something.
Oh,
like that.
Exactly it. Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Exactly
Yeah.
63.
Who was at the school when you were there? Who was the CO?
Macmillan.
Macmillan was.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
Ford was the XO. Huddleston was, I think, training officer.
Right.
So who was this? Standing down there at the guard shack all the time, all crisp and
Who, Mr. Cleaning? Now, who would that be?
Flater.
Oh, well, he was in Master in Arms. Oh, yeah.
Flater.
How about Ned?
Ned Muffley?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
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 Ned Muffley was the conductor
Was that
of
what he
the
was?
advanced course at the time.
I remember him standing down with a pistol belt on.
What was it? Ned Muffley told Cleo Owens one time that he says, in this part of the music here, this should be as gratifying as making love to a beautiful woman. And Owens, without batting an eye, says, either you don't know how to or I don't know how to conduct.
Oh my God.
Oh, Ned.
Let's see. My bass drum teacher.
Oh, okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Kenny Malone, right?
Kenny Malone, yeah. Yeah, there's a story connected with that. We may have told it before, though.
Well, let's tell it again, because
Well, when I when I got to basic, the basic course, piano player, so we had to minor in a percussion instrument. So there's bass drum. So I go to my first lesson. There's Kenny Malone. I don't know who Kenny Malone is. He doesn't know who I am. And there's a bass drum with a cymbal on the top of it.
yeah.
So this first lesson, I don't remember which way it was. It was either quarter note triplets on the bass drum and eighth note triplets on the cymbal, or the other way
Oh,
around.
that could
I don't
be.
remember which one it was.
That's not so easy.
But I thought, I can do that. I'll do that. So guess who didn't practice at all before the next week? Me. Well, I got there and I was going to clack, and I couldn't do it. And Malone went and he yanked me. He said, "God damn it!" He said, "You're going to the office." He said, "You're wasting my time and your time and the Navy's time." And he took me to the office and marched me into the training officer. Was that it? Frank Eamon, the training officer.
Yeah, he was a training officer. Yes,
He's
he was.
sitting there with that grin on his face. And so Malone told him what I had not done. And Frank said, "Well, Oates," he said, "what are you going to do about that?" And I said, "I'll know how to do that next week." And did.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
did. Well, the interesting thing was, a year later, or a little over a year later, when I got transferred to the Pensacola band, the morning I went in to check in, I walked into the bandmaster's office. It was Frank Eamon.
Wow.
And he's sitting there with that same grin on his face. And he said, "How's the bass drum triplets going?"
Oh, no kidding. He remembered.
I said, "They're a lot better than they were the last time I saw you." Oh, my God.
So didn't Kenny wind up in Nashville then after he retired? Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
Was he there before you, or
Oh,
did
no.
you get there first?
Oh, no, he was still in the Navy.
Was he? Yeah.
After I'd been in Nashville for 2 or 3 months, Associated Press did this big article on me. I don't know, I guess I was sort of, it sounds kind of dumb, but I was sort of a flash. I started to work really quick and got busy really quick, but I had a lot of help. This Associated Press article went all over the world, and it was also in the Navy Times. Is that right, Navy Times?
Yeah.
It was in the Navy Times. Well, Malone was coming through Nashville. He'd been on vacation, and he called me from the Holiday Inn downtown Nashville, and he said, "Man," he said, "I'm passing through town, and I sure would like to go to a session or two. I read this article about you in the Navy Times, and he said, I'd like to go with you and see a few sessions." And so I did. I picked him up and I took him to a couple of sessions the first day and a couple the next day. And he'd been in, it was time for him to, I guess, ship over for the last time. He'd been in like 14 and a half years at that point. He went back and got out.
He didn't retire?
Oh, no.
Oh,
He got out
I thought he did.
14 and a half
Yeah.
years.
Wow.
And came to Nashville, and I got him started in doing demos for Cedarwood Publishing Company, who we worked every week for them, and a couple other accounts I got him started in. And he stuck it out for that first year. Almost didn't get enough work to make him want to stay. He almost went back in at the end of that first year. Almost went back in, and got a good master account or something there at the end of that year, and stayed. So it's sort of my fault that he's there. He did really well.
He was at the clinic in Louisville.
The clinic.
Yeah.
Reunion.
The clinic, the reunion, yeah.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
It still looked exactly the same.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He really hadn't aged at all, like some of us.
He's a little more eccentric now than he used to be.
Yeah.
A lot of them Not me.
I didn't.
How about you?
As soon as I figure out what eccentric is,
Start working on it.
yeah, I'll try to get some.
Oh my God.
You notice that all those years down in the South, Ron has finally learned how to pronounce hill.
Finally, about
He
time.
had lots of hill.
Hey, I've had plenty of help. You hear me say that a while ago? I had lots of help. I did.
Yeah, Ron being from the north originally, that's surprising.
North Carolina.
Oh, that's right, North Carolina.
That's right.
So
Up in the north.
back to Pensacola. What did you do while you were in the band there? What was memorable about that, gig wise, or you had a group, didn't you?
I had a group, and you ought to know about that.
Oh, that's right, I was in it.
That's right, you were.
Now I remember.
Yeah, I had a group, and somehow, I don't know how this happened, but somehow, every time the band had to fly out and go someplace and do something, they'd leave us back because we had gigs. We were working so much, we had gigs at night, so we
Frank
didn't have to go do those gigs.
That'd be Fritz.
That'd be Fritz Eamon.
Oh yeah, that'd be Fritz.
Eamon was at one of the.
Who was it the last
Yeah,
time?
we were
Yeah,
there this time
yeah.
too,
Yeah.
in Memphis.
We're trying to get a Pensacola reunion together.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, a reunion
He
within
just
a
called
reunion.
me, about 2 weeks ago.
Is that right?
And he gave his computer to a grandchild. I believe that's right. He gave his computer to a grandchild. And so he's sort of out of touch with everybody.
Yeah.
So he called me to tell me he was missing me and wondered if I was going to go to Memphis before he made plans to go to that reunion. And I told him I would go. I will go. And Mike will go.
Yeah.
How about you?
That saxophone
Oh, yeah.
player.
That's saxophone.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'll be there.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Texas the one talked me into going.
It's only
the
2.5
first time.
hours from my house. So,
That's next door.
Yeah.
It is. It is. I can go over there and not even have to spend the night. 2 or 3, 4 weeks ago, I don't know if anybody there would remember who the hell I was.
Oh yeah, there will. You'd be surprised, man. Well, Phil Field will be there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll,
There'll be people that you have forgotten about that'll be there.
Yeah, you see people.
what about Danny Richardson?
Oh, he's always there.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Danny got the band in, could have been Sixth Fleet Band.
Good man.
Yeah, he had 6th and 7th Fleet bands. He had both of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he tried to get me out of school, get me an early out, so I could go with him. But 5 months is not enough.
Yeah.
So I had to stay.
Because you were still working on your bass drum chops, right?
Oh yeah, I was still working on the left-hand triplet. I had to write them down. So I never would have known Phil Field if they hadn't kept me there. Because when I finished, they sent me to San Diego. Still might have been out a little early. Sent me to San Diego to replace Kellerhouse, Warren Kellerhouse. Because that band, Phil's band, had already made their first cruise, and then Kellerhouse was getting out. And so they sent me to replace him, and I just made the second cruise.
Kellerhouse went back to the academy or something.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he was there when I got there. Yeah. He was in Nashville for a while
Oh, yeah,
too,
he came
right?
to Nashville too.
Yeah.
After he really
After
got
he
out.
retired, yeah.
Yeah.
I understand he's not doing well. He's been ill.
Is that right?
He didn't run the band at the Naval Academy last year because of a heart attack or something. I don't know. Hope he's doing all right.
I was never stationed with him, so.
He's a very nice man. He really is. He was always very helpful to me at the Naval Academy when I was there. Always helped me out with charts and, good man.
I may be mistaken, but after he moved to Nashville, I think he went on the road with Brenda Lee.
He did. That's right. I remember that. He sure did. Now, back to Pensacola again.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Let's talk about that little group you had.
Okay.
What did we used to do? What song did you used to sing?
Who used to sing?
You.
Oh, for nothing.
Come on, sing a little bit for us. Come on, give us a little bit of young blood. Come on, young blood.
Young blood.
Come on.
I saw her standing on the corner, a yellow ribbon in her.
Well, you haven't lost a bit. Have you? That's what it sounded like then.
Did we? No, we didn't do. We didn't do Long Talk Texan, did we?
I don't think so. Sonny Preston used to sing that. Long Tall Texan. Yeah.
Well, I got to Nashville, and one of the first sessions I worked with, bass player Henry Shalecki wrote that song.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a small world.
It is, indeed. I also, who sang Phoenix? Oh, it was instrumental by the time I
Phoenix. Oh, yeah, we always played that. That was our best tune. Yeah. Who was the saxophone player on that?
Oh, let me think. Danny Cavallo. No.
Cavallo, yeah.
No, it was Cecil B. DeMikey.
Now, what about, where did the group work?
Pardon me?
Where did we work? Some of the places. We worked
Mustard Beach. We
Eglin Officers, Oak Club, the Beach Club?
The beach at Eglin Air Force Base,
Yeah.
the beach club there. Made me think of Daryl Powell.
Oh, Daryl. Okay, tell the Daryl story.
Well, did you know Daryl Powers?
Never knew
Bass
Daryl.
player.
No. He's a pretty good bass player, too.
Yep.
He
So,
was.
so we had this group. We're down there at the Officers Club. We're setting up
That's
for
about-
the beach
but
club
how-
at Eglin Air Force Base.
How far from Pensacola? Maybe 50 miles?
Yeah, an hour.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
It wasn't an hour in that 425 horse 427 Super Sport.
But in
Daryl's
Daryl's
flying low.
Oh, man.
Daryl's international scout, it was 2 hours, right?
Right, yeah. Breaker. Anyhow, we get down there and we're setting up, and Daryl opens his case and goes, "Oops. What did he say, Mike?"
So I forgot to put my bass in here. Didn't have his bass.
Didn't have his bass.
Empty case.
He said, "What am I going to do?" I said, "You're going to get your ass back to the house and get it." And he went all the way back to Pensacola, and I said,
200 miles.
It was only an hour away.
Yeah,
It
that was about 100 miles round trip.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, so he left, got his bass, he came back. We're in the last song.
He played the last tune.
He runs up there, plugs it in, he's going thump, 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 tune, 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 and he gets about the last chorus in, and so puts it back in the case, and he's standing around waiting for a paycheck.
I said, you don't really think I'm going to pay you, do you, Daryl?
I said, "It's not going to work out tonight, Daryl. I'm sorry." Thump, thump, thump.
So another Daryl story. We're in the New Orleans Mardi Gras parade. Daryl's playing sousaphone.
Yeah.
And of course, the entire parade route, people were bringing drinks out to the band. I don't know if you ever marched in that parade. By the end of the parade, we're all snockered.
Oh, yeah.
And Daryl was doing spin moves with his sousaphone. So every corner, he's doing a spin move. So we got to just about the end of the parade, one last turn. Daryl does his spin move, and down he went. Crash! He's laying down there. He's help! We just left him there. We left him laying in the street.
Oh, my God.
Oh, poor Daryl.
So we get to New Orleans on that first trip, and I figured out how to carry my bottle of whiskey with a neoprene tube up inside my shirt, right up in here, so we could do that. Well, you know, we'd march a while, and then we'd stop. Traffic or the parade would back up, so we'd be stopped for a minute, and I'm like this, and I'm going. And I looked up, and there's Frank Eamon looking at me right in the eye with that grin on his face, and I'm going, oh. He said, "What you got there, Mr. Oates?" I said, "What do you mean?" He made this tube's hanging down out of my
shirt.
Yeah, out of my shirt. He just grinned and kept on going.
Yeah, that was a
My kind of guy.
oh yeah, that was a relaxed band for sure.
It
It
was wonderful.
really was.
It was wonderful, and it sounded great.
I don't know, was Gary Adams there when you were there? Trumpet player?
I don't remember.
He must have come in after you left. That band, when I was in it, well, I actually ran the big band. We used to go to lunch every day at a place called the Bowie. Remember the Bowie?
I do.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
lunch. Lunch consisted of a quart of wine for each person, you know. They'd come back for an afternoon rehearsal, and I mean, I don't know why we even bothered to come back, you know.
A lot of times we didn't even have to. We didn't have afternoons.
Yeah. No,
We
well-
go to lunch and didn't have to go back.
Yeah, usually.
Especially, well, of course, Pensacola's a air cadets were there. All the pilot trainees were there.
Yeah.
So once a month they had a big inspection in the hangar out of the base, Well, we had to go out and play marches. You remember that? We'd have to be there.
Oh, yeah.
9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So we had to stand there and play marches while they got inspected, not us. They got inspected. Well, if we had to do that on Saturday morning, we didn't go to work on Monday because it messed up our weekend. And
I hate it when that happens.
Oh, no, messing up my weekend.
we were hoping we could do that every Saturday. You
Yeah.
know, but sometimes we didn't even have afternoons. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, it was.
Pretty nice.
I remember Gary wound up being the lead trumpet player in the Commodores for, what, 15 years, something like
Yeah.
that? Turned into a great lead trumpet player. But he got into a whole lot of trouble one time for playing a doink on the end of the national anthem one time in a ceremony. La da 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 da, don, up to the stratosphere. The
wrong with that?
Admiral was not amused.
Oh.
Yeah.
So like Dave Perry, that trumpet player stationed in Hawaii, and I wasn't, but the story has it that he was late for evening colors, and he was in the shore patrol truck, and was, getting there late. He looked out and bring the flag down, and he took his trumpet and played out the window, but he played the wrong tune. He played the theme from 20 Mule Team Board. He said that was the only thing on his, that was on his mind. So anyway, he got busted for that.
Good God.
Really?
Busted.
The first gig I played in Pensacola, Lloyd Holtman had the big band.
Yeah.
And we got to the O Club, and Glenn Blanchett was playing lead. I don't remember who else was in the band, but during the first set, Glenn got out of his chair and went and mixed a drink for the sax section. That was a fifth of whiskey in an ice bucket, and then passed it down the line. Yeah. And then during the break, Glenn and the boys had a contest. It was called the Who Can Throw a Folding Chair the Farthest Onto the Roof of the O Club contest. Yeah, they're heaving chairs up on top of the O Club. And I told Lloyd, that was a first class then, that was a career. I said, Lloyd, you really think this is a good thing, man? You think we ought to be doing this? And he says, oh, well, they're having fun, I said, yeah, well, to tell you the truth, when I took over the band, things did calm down a bit. I mean, I thought that was just a bit much,
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was a fun band. It definitely was. He saw me standing on the corner. Come on.
Oh, yellow ribbon in her hair.
Because this is an octave lower from what it used to be. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, it's easier when you're standing up playing a Wurlitzer. I bought that Wurlitzer because of What Did I Say? Of course, I wanted to sound like Ray Charles. I bought that thing and never sounded like Ray Charles. I learned every note of What Did I Say, but it never sounded like Ray Charles.
See, somebody sent me, Jim Wyckoff?
Yeah,
trombone player?
the trombone player.
Yeah. He sent me this video of Ray Charles, Fats Domino, and Jerry Lee Lewis. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen that?
I have it.
Do you have it? Yeah. I didn't like it because there wasn't enough Ray Charles.
Oh, that's right.
Way too much Jerry Lee Lewis. Yeah. Diane can play piano like that. She can. All that sweeps up and down the keys. Hell, anybody can do that shit.
I can't.
I got to cut that out.
I can't. What? What that kind of piano lick?
No, because I said shit. You
Oh, yeah.
can't say shit in a Navy video, not these days. Man. Did you ever have? Did you have one of those little pianos you had to carry around? One of those gray pianos that spin?
No, we didn't have a piano.
You didn't have one of those?
No.
No
we didn't
piano
have
at
a
all?
piano. We had no piano.
None. What the hell did you do?
Well, there was a B3 up in the chain locker, up in the forecastle.
Oh, for heaven's sake,
And that's where they had, I mean, that's not funny part, but that's where they had the memorial services for the pilots that didn't come back.
Oh, my. Yeah.
Every week or two, you know, or I mean every day or two, it seemed like.
Good Lord.
But I was up there having to play those memorial services on the B3. Anyhow, but the only other place that had a keyboard was the chapel. It had this little teeny organ. So I would go up there at night. I had a key to the chapel, so I could go up there late at night and just be there by myself and play music without going. So I'd go crazy all the time with nothing to play. Otherwise, there were no keyboards except it's the Admiral's birthday. And they came to me, of course, and wanted somebody to play Happy Birthday and for He's a Jolly Good Fellow, whatever. So, well, there's no piano. So somewhere they found an officer who had an accordion. I'll bet he was popular. So, so here he comes with this accordion. Here, he said, you're going to need this. And I went, geez. Well, I didn't know what to do with it. I'd never seen one up close. I said, well, okay, what do you do? And he said, you put your arms through here. So I've got it on like this. He said, okay, now you do like this. And you play, and I went, wait a minute, I can't see the keyboard. How am I supposed to play this if I can't see it? And he said, on the left side, all these buttons, in the middle, there's an indented one that's a C chord. And he said, you just feel around, you'll find a D and an F and a G. You just feel around till you find it. Like I'm going to practice on that thing for a long time. Right? So here I go. It's time to go up to the Admiral's stateroom area. I don't know what they called it, but suite or something. But anyhow, you know how it is on a carrier. All these bulkheads that you have to go through and step over. It's like angle irons.
Yeah.
And then you climb all these ladders. By the time I got up there, I had to scrape my shin so many times. My jeans were sticking to my legs from the blood. So I finally get up there to the damn, to where I had to go, and the Marines were standing out there. And I said, I'm supposed to play in there. And so they knocked on the door and went in, and they came back out, and they got me, took me inside, and here's this whole, like a conference table with the captain, the exec, the admiral, and all the
Biggies.
yeah, all of them are up there. And so I'm just standing there with this dumbass accordion wrapped around me. And the exec turns around and he goes, okay. And I went, gulp. I said, squawk, wank. He went, whoa, stop. He said, what the hell was that? And I went, for He's a Jolly Good Fellow.
What they have on ship when you were there?
Nothing.
Bass drum.
Oh, you didn't have a keyboard at all?
No.
So you went on the beach to play
Yeah. But when we found a place, every now and then, I'll bet twice we had a gig. There's pictures of Dan Jacobs and Bill Stanifer, I think. Do you remember anyone named Stanifer? Sax player.
Floyd.
No, Stanifer. No, that was. And the drummer's name was Nagy, Ralph Nagy. Bass player name was Jack Frank.
Oh, no, yeah.
That was about the extent of our band. We had maybe 2 gigs the whole time the whole 6 months we were out in Sasebo or Yokosuka.
So it wasn't a full It wasn't a full band then?
We had about 17 people. I
Oh,
think.
did you?
They didn't have a big band. No
Well,
kidding.
what, 17 people? How big is that?
Well, I mean, did you all play at the same time?
No.
Dance band?
I don't remember ever doing that.
No kidding. Well, yeah.
You know what was an interesting thing? You think about things, you think about horn parts and stuff the whole time. You're floating around and you're thinking all that stuff. And there's no place to ever do it. So I just thought about it. And so when I get to Pensacola, I start writing the horn parts and stuff for these gigs that I didn't have yet. And so one day, suddenly I had a band, and then we had
Horn parts.
horn parts.
Had a book.
And it sounded just like it did in my head when I was out there on the Kearsarge. That was the weirdest thing. And I came back with like 2 trumpet part things, and it sounded like Tijuana brass. I swear it did. No, I'd ever heard of them when we were out.
Oh, no kidding.
You were ahead of your time.
Hey, hey.
Damn, that was so weird.
It was on the queer barge.
I was on the queer barge. I was. Oh, my God. That's interesting because every time we'd have general quarters, and everybody strapping on sidearms and helmets and running to their battle stations, and of course ours was back down in the compartment to get the hell out of everybody else's way. And they called us beat and blow boys. They do that to everybody on board ship.
Beat and blow?
The beat and blow boys.
No.
So,
I heard that one.
I got away with it.
we're on the queer bar, being called the beat and blow boys, and we'd be going, they'd be running up to go to war, and we'd be going, excuse me, probably tripping us and trying to knock us down the downstairs. That was great. So the beat and blow boys were on the queer barge. Yes.
I see.
What do they call us? Flute tutors, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, flute tutors.
Flute.
Yeah. Played the skin. What do you play? The skin flute?
I never did play. I never did do that very well.
Never played the skin flute?
No. I never did ever. No, hell no.
Well, I'll tell you, things have changed in the Navy.
I did not
in that
play
way.
flute.
You know, people are not. They don't harass musicians the way they used to in the Navy. You know.
Well, nobody's allowed to drink anymore.
Yeah, I kind of put an end to it. Yeah.
What? No fun anymore?
No. Sailors have less fun. That's the new slogan of the Navy.
You know, you asked me a while ago, Mikey, or Cecil, sorry, about who was at the school when I was there. Bud Kowalski was there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was a trumpet instructor. Second class at the time.
I was at the
Right.
Naval
What?
Academy with him. Yeah.
Joe Phillips.
Joe Phillips was there.
Maneri. Joe Maneri.
Joe Maneri was
Right,
there?
Maneri was there.
No kidding.
Right.
Malone.
Wow.
That was and Forgione.
Forgione? Oh, yeah, he was there when I was there. Yeah.
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 My piano teacher, Strike.
Phil Strike.
Phil Strike was there.
He goes to the reunions. He was
Does
there
he?
last year. Yeah.
Well, that'll be interesting.
Yeah. He still looks like he's about 37 years old.
Does he?
Yeah. Doesn't he? You see him last year? He wasn't there for
38.
I don't know him.
38.
You don't know him?
Oh.
Yeah. He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Who else was there? I can't remember. Mike Massiola.
Oh, yeah.
He's a nice
He
guy.
was there forever,
Nice
man.
man.
Oh, yeah.
Guy that everybody loved.
Yeah.
Was Nick and Nace there?
Nace.
Yeah.
He was there.
Was he the Heat Chief?
I don't know what
Command
that
Master
means.
Chief?
Huh?
The Command Master Chief? Was he
I
the
don't
head?
know. I don't remember.
That's what they call him, the Heat Chief.
Yeah.
That was his nickname, because he gave the heat.
Oh.
He was good at it, too, man.
When we were in the basic course, Nick was a reed instructor, I believe.
Oh, one of his students was Dick McWayne.
Is that right?
Yeah, he thought Dick, he kicked Dick in the back one time.
Kicked him in the
Yeah,
back?
kicked him in the back. He said, "You didn't practice, did you?" Kicked him in the back, man. Yeah. Dick told me that.
Maybe he's the one that made Dick so mean.
Maybe so.
I'd rather get drugged down to Frank Eamon's office.
Yeah, by
get kicked.
the jersey, yeah. Did you know Ron's a French horn player?
Ah,
He is, for real.
maybe he is one of the beat and blow boys.
After all. So,
Yes, sir.
here we are.
Once again,
Yeah, at Mike's house this time.
Cecil B.
Cecil B. the Beagle.
Cecil! Oh,
Ron was kind enough to make a trip out to finish up our movie. We had a few things we forgot to talk about in Nashville. Got a chance to go down and see Tex Waldron at his club and just hang out and have fun for a while. One of the areas that we really missed hitting on was your influences. You know, who the heck did you listen to when you were coming up, when you were a young man and later on, that influenced your playing?
around the mid-50s, I guess, when I got to be like 14, 15 years old, I started listening to people like Huey Piano Smith.
Who?
Really?
No.
Oh man, New Orleans music, man. I was listening
Oh,
to
my
Huey Piano
God.
Smith and
That's a new one on
Professor
me.
Longhair.
Oh, him I know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Little Richard.
Yeah, yeah.
The playing fool, man.
Yes, indeed.
Golly, he was wonderful. Fats Domino.
Mm-hmm.
Got that thing going, that left-hand thing going on. And let's see. Then a little bit later on, maybe 58, 59 at the latest, suddenly there was Ramsey Lewis on the scene.
Oh, yeah.
But before that, we, of course, starting around 1954, of course, was Ray Charles.
Oh.
Ray Charles. As far as analyzing players that I wanted to just rob them of everything they knew, it was Ray Charles and Ramsey Lewis. They were the first ones I really analyzed and consciously studied and tried to take things from
Okay.
and blend them into something. Or I didn't realize I was blending them into something of my own, but I thought I could blend them into a sound that I was comfortable playing. And so I did the best I could at that, and then it wound up to be a sound for me. Those are my main ones. Those are my main influences. And then there was Oscar Peterson, who, of course, I couldn't take anything from. I could take a lot of enjoyment, but, man, I could never get any playing from that.
A lot of inspiration, but...
Oh, my Lord, yes. Yeah, of course. And Earl Hines, speaking of Oscar Peterson, they had all that stride thing going that they were so wonderful at, and Oscar Peterson. And I also liked Errol Garner.
Mm-hmm.
But I robbed Ray Charles blind. And, only kidding. And that wasn't me. Ray Charles and Ramsey Lewis were really it.
Could you choose one over the other? Would you say one was more influential on your
It's
play?
a totally different. It's in my heart. It's a totally different place that moves when I listen to each one of them. They're both funky as heck. You know, they both have that thing, and Ray Charles was just one of a kind. There's not been one of those, and there won't be another one of those.
Right.
Ramsey Lewis was real funky and more jazz oriented. Of course, Ray Charles had jazz bands and things for years and years and years, and he was really good at that.
Mm-hmm.
Ramsey Lewis was more R&B / jazz oriented from the beginning.
Right.
And that was a totally new sound when he came along, like with the In Crowd. And except even before the In Crowd, he had things like that album, oh my God, what was it? From the Music from the Soul? Or I can't remember what it was. It was the first one I ever heard, anyhow. Just wonderful, funky stuff.
Did you ever get an opportunity to meet either one of them, Ray Charles or Ramsey Lewis? I'm sure you heard them live more than once.
Yeah. I had an interesting thing with Ray Charles. When I first moved to Nashville, while I was sort of trying to build up my client list, the producers that I worked for, very early on, I began working demos at Cedarwood Publishing Company. At that time, it was the largest country music publisher in the world. And we would do 3 or 4 demo sessions a week, or maybe more, 3 or 4 days of demo sessions maybe in a week. And one of the writers there was a really nice guy, and he played what I thought was really rocking guitar, and he was a good singer, and just a really, really nice guy. And we got to be kind of buds, and we'd go to lunch a time or two a week. And at that time, 1970, Johnny Cash TV show, weekly TV show, was being filmed at the Ryman Auditorium. And I knew this guy worked down there on the Cash show doing something. I had no idea what. Well, he called me one afternoon, and he said, "Hey, Ron, meet me down at the Ryman Auditorium at the Cash show." He said, "There's somebody I want to introduce you to." And I thought, nah, I don't want to go down to the Cash show. That wasn't on my priority list. And, well, I didn't have anything to do that afternoon. So at the last minute, I decided, okay, I'll go. So I walked in the Ryman Auditorium, which is the mother lode of country music.
The High Temple.
It is absolutely, it absolutely is the High Temple. Well, I walked in, and a friend of mine saw me from the stage, and he waved at me, and he said, "Come on up here, come up here." And so I went up there and walked up the side steps and went on stage, and he said, "Come here a minute." He said, "I want to introduce you to somebody." And there's somebody sitting at the piano with his back to us. And he went over and he tapped him on the shoulder, and he said, "Hey, Ray, I want you to meet my buddy Ron." And Ray Charles turned around.
Oh, my.
And it was like I didn't know what to say. It was like I'd always thought it would be. I died and went to Ray Charles. That's what I always thought. When I die, that's where I'm going. I'm going to Ray Charles. And I had. Well, when you're dead, you can't talk, apparently. I didn't know what to say to him. I fumbled around and sounded like some kind of dork groupie or something, and was gushing all over him, telling him how much I loved him and everything, and I'm kicking myself in the ass at the same time, going, "No, don't say that stuff," and I couldn't help it.
Yeah.
I couldn't help myself. Well, we just talked a few minutes because they had to film, and so that was the end of that.
Wow.
Well, it was a wow. Well, the rest of that story is that, and this is a stupid part of the story, another month or two went by before I found out that my friend who introduced me to Ray Charles was Carl Perkins.
The Carl Perkins?
The Carl Perkins.
You're kidding me.
And there I was kicking myself in the ass again. Oh,
You
duh.
didn't realize who he was?
No, I knew Carl.
Yeah?
That's all I knew.
Oh, I'll be
I mean, they
damned.
may have said his last name when they introduced me to him several months before.
Just didn't register.
No. We just went to lunch together a time or two a week, and I know he played great guitar, a really rocking guitar. Well, he invented it.
Yeah, no
He
kidding.
invented that rockabilly guitar
He
thing.
was the real Elvis, wasn't he?
He was the real Elvis. Absolutely. The blue suede
There are
shoes.
people that will argue that point, that he was the king of rock and roll, Carl Perkins,
Man,
rather than Elvis.
well, you know what happened? He wrote Blue Suede Shoes, of course,
right.
which put Elvis on the map.
Sure.
Well, he had the record cut and had a wreck
No kidding.
and didn't get that record out, and Elvis did.
For heaven's sake.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, but he had a hell of a career, didn't he? Carl Perkins, I mean, he a legend to everybody. Absolute legend to everybody. I mean, he got called to play over in London on Beatles records and things.
I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. He's a great, great guy.
Yeah.
Wonderful man. And, of course, he's gone.
Yep. Yep. Ron, do you have any plans to attend the Navy Musicians Association reunion in Memphis this summer?
The what?
The Navy Musicians Association reunion in Memphis, Tennessee this summer? Have you heard about that?
There's a terrible echo in this one. Yeah, I heard something about that.
You did, huh? Yeah. And what was your reaction to that? Would you like to give us
Hell no.
No chance. You're not going.
Not chance. No, not a chance.
You
Not-
told me already that you're going to try really hard. In fact, you're definitely going to
I
be
am
there.
going. Of
That's
course
great.
I'm going.
I mean, it's what, a 2.5 hour drive from Nashville
About
to
that.
Memphis? Yeah.
With me,
Yeah.
It would normally be a 3 to 3.5.
Fireball Oates.
Fireball Oates. That's right. That's right. Yes, I'm going.
Great.
And
Yeah.
I've been in contact with several other of our old Pensacola buddies, trying to gather up enough of us to have a little reunion with Frank Emond.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
It would be wonderful. I know
Yeah.
he's coming. He and Maxine are coming.
Uh-huh.
And
You've
Hal
got any-
Hessler and his wife are really trying to come.
Oh,
They're-
wow.
they're-
That would be great.
It would
Yeah.
be wonderful if they came. Let's see, Lloyd Holtman, his wife's in the hospital, or in sort of in a care facility, and so he said it depended on her health whether he could make it or not.
That's right.
But I did talk to him about it, and perhaps Dave Leach,
Oh, okay.
and I don't know if you're coming or not, but
Oh, I think maybe.
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
good man, good.
You know, let's walk over here a minute. Come with me. And look at this picture on the wall over here.
This way.
Walk this way.
Yeah.
This picture right here. This would be the Pensacola band.
Oh my God, it's us.
It's us. When Mr. Eamon had it.
Yes, it is.
Can you do any left to right IDs on this? I don't know. I can't really see it that well.
I
through the
can't do
camera.
any left to right, but I
How
can.
about right to left?
I can do it right to left. There's Warren Petty, the oldest drummer in the Navy.
Right.
Oh,
The late great.
was his name Rigo?
That's Hopkins.
Hopkins.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Hopkins. That's Hoppy.
Look, we're here together. Dave Leach, right?
Uh-huh. So we got a better angle on this picture now. Let's see if we can figure out who is who. There's, of course, Mr. Eamon on the left in the front row.
There's Frank.
And Zeb Heilman, maybe, the trombone player.
You're doing better than me.
There, I think. This guy, I can't remember his name. That's Gary Adams, who eventually played lead trumpet in the Commodores for many years. Gary Bowser, really wonderful, great trumpet player. His name was Walters.
Walter.
Yeah, that guy, I can't remember his name.
Okay.
There's Warren Petty back here.
There's Warren Petty. It is
Yeah.
Warren Petty.
That's
And
Warren.
Who did you say that? Tell me that. Hopkins?
Yeah, Hoppy. Yeah, he used to date a girl whose dad was in the original Harmonicats.
Oh, for God.
Yeah, she was a real nice girl.
And here are the Three Stooges.
There they are.
Dave Leach,
Leach,
Cecil B. DeBeagle, and Little Ronnie
and
Oates.
Fireball Oates. And right next to you is Joe Rewer. Is a very good drummer.
And look up here.
Oh,
Daryl.
Daryl.
Daryl
It's
Power.
Daryl. Yeah,
It is Daryl Power.
it's Daryl. Time check power.
And Pat Williams.
Pat Williams.
And that's it for me. I don't know. Oh, yeah, I know
Glenn
one more.
Blanchett.
Oh, there's Glenn Blanchett.
Yeah,
It
and this
sure
is Howard Dinker.
No.
Howard Dinker. Yep. Sonny Green.
Okay, that is Sonny Green.
And that
Right.
guy, what was his name? He was from Newfoundland.
Are you sure that's not Phil Long
Where?
right there?
Phil Lung.
Uh-huh.
I never heard of Phil Lung.
Okay.
That's Howard
He's a
Dinker.
sax player.
Isn't that
Okay.
Howard Dinker?
I don't know. I'm only guessing.
Me
I'm
too.
just trying to help out.
But do you remember this guy's name?
Does somebody out there?
Ben. His first name was Ben. He was
Older?
an ex-bosun's mate. He was a cross rate. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's the band
That's the best I can do.
in Pensacola. And we're going to try to, I guess, hook up as many people as we can from that band and do it especially for Mr. Eamon, who's getting up there in years a bit.
He'll love to hear that.
Oh, yeah, he'll be thrilled to hear that.
Cecil, who's going to love that?
Yeah.
Of
So-
course, we aren't.
No, of course, we're getting younger every day.
No.
So that's the deal on that.
When was this? About 66, 67?
Yeah. Yeah, what year did you get out of the Navy?
68.
All right, it had to be about 67 then, yeah.
Look
Or
at
maybe
us.
even the year you got out, I don't know.
Look at us. All of us have the same medal on except whoever that is we can't remember.
Oh, what the heck was his name? He was Mexican.
Oh, him.
Yeah, that guy.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
That Mexican guy. Yeah, and there's Ben, who had quite a few medals, and Mr. Eamon, who had a whole bunch of medals. And then there's Ron Oates, who had, let's see.
Did they just pass those out to us for the picture? Because we all have one.
No, that's.
And if they'd warned us about this picture, we would have put all our medals on.
Oh, sure. Yeah, right. That was a Gedunk medal. Everybody in the Navy got one of those. It's a National Defense Medal.
I only had 2 more in my whole.
Jace, you were
I
in.
only got 2 more.
How come they didn't give you some medals for being over in Vietnam?
They did.
Where are they?
Wait, I'm wearing one now. Oh, no. Oh, I'm kidding. That's what I mean. Nobody has any on. If we'd been warned about the picture, we would have at least put our other stuff on.
See, I didn't have any other ones.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
Oh, well, hell, I did.
Well, I had a good conduct medal. Nobody's even got that on, do they?
I hadn't been in long enough for a good conduct medal.
You hadn't had enough good conduct to get a good conduct medal.
Oh, there is that, yeah.